Good morning and welcome to the Standing Committee meeting for Wednesday, May 3rd, 2023. All council meetings will continue to be live streamed on the city's website. Our first order of business is roll call. Would the clerk please take the roll?
Reverend Burgess. Mr. Coghill. Ms. Gross.
Here.
Mr. Kraus.
Here.
Mrs. Cal-Smith. Ms. Strasburger.
Here.
Ms. Warwick. Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Mr. Lavelle, Chair.
Here.
5 members present.
My mic? Oh, sorry. I was being told bring my mic closer. Our next order of business is public comment. I would like to remind all speakers that the rules of council state that the comments are limited to matters of concern, official action, or deliberation which are or may be before city council, and profanity will not be permitted. After you are called, please restate your name, provide your neighborhood for the record. You'll be given 3 minutes to speak. Our first registered speaker is Dr. Ronald Lynn Miller.
Dr. Ronald Lynn Miller, Bells Hoover, Cairo, Egypt. I'm the Global Intelligence Society U.S. National Candidate for President 2024. cgsii.rlm.globalintelligence@gmail.com is my primary Pittsburgh-based email. I'm a member of the American Physical Society, the divisions of nuclear physics, quantum information, biological physics, and chemical physics. Dual axis radiographic hydrodynamic test facility. Anybody here know what that is? Ms. Strasburger? Concern of Pittsburgh City Council is to recognize individuals who are of Black African descent, who are achievers, influencers. Mgani? He wanted the WPIA Ellers 25 April 2023 to recognize, quote, "They never came to see me play." He repeated it 3 times in 60 seconds. The Global Intelligence Society sponsored African Intelligence Month, which I founded in 2010, recognizes Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson instead. SAJ, encouraged by mother and father, they always came to see her play. She graduated first in her high school class. She gained a PhD in physics from MIT, which was the first black female to do so. She generated research at Bell Labs, leading to touchtone telephone, to the fax, caller ID. She became the president of Rensselaer Institute. For 20 years, she was the first Black African American female to do so. She streamlined the Nuclear Regulatory Commission as its first black female chair. She's just ferocious. She apparently decided early on to allow no one to be better informed with higher intelligence in any context in which she found herself. She was often the very best and the most. And to allow no race or sex, gender-based ascriptive negative to deter her or to diminish her identity. And to allocate all her energy to neutralize U.S. systemic racism and sexism in relentless pursuit of positive achievement. Resisting what I think is incendiary, rhetorical, critical race theory provocation, and physical civil rights protest. She's really remarkable and needs for this council to pay attention.
Thank you. Our next registered speaker is Naomi Mullen.
Here. Shady trees, not shady deals in Bon Air. This is for you, Michael. First, do no harm is not just a rule of medicine. Government shall not harm the people or can be held accountable. Blockbusting and infliction of emotional distress has occurred against Bon Air. Those who oppose the property owners of Bon Air do so at their own peril. Politicians and municipal employees are public servants. My husband was the dedicated model employee that should be emulated by others. The Pennsylvania State Constitution says that government was created for the peace, safety, and happiness of we, the people. Decisions and actions that harm the people are not acceptable. There are elected and appointed officials that have proven themselves to be enemies. The Public School Board of Education in Pittsburgh has zero regard for the rights of the property owners, taxpayers, citizens, and voters in the Bon Air community. We do not consent to the detrimental school building remaining in our community. We do want a green space to replace the building and improve the location. This is the least that can be done to repair the loss that has occurred. The public servants of the school board shall work with the community to the best of their ability. It was fraudulent to claim that the community approved apartments there. On Saturday, April 29th, we had a meeting for Bon Air Green Space. Again, no one from the Board of Education showed up. Also, not a single citizen wanted anything other than a green space to replace the school building. Our voices are being ignored from Bon Air. We are being harmed. This is inexcusable. The dictatorial approach of PPS is abhorrent to the people, with a government that was created of the people and for the people. Thank you to Jessica Benham and Anthony Coghill, who both attended our community meeting. They are true state representatives and councilmen. Thank you. The school board has proven itself as detrimental. Will you be part of the solution? On June 20th, 2022, the detrimental Bon Air school building worsened into being disruptive and a nuisance property. We have objected to apartments or anything other than a green space to replace the school. Tear it down. The building is a magnet to youth who broke into, in addition to trespassing, 3 of the 7 had to be escorted out of the building. Tear it down. Other neighborhoods have been blighted with worse. Do not allow it to happen to Bon Air. Tear it down. Now that McKinley Park is no longer part of Bon Air, we want the school to become a green space as replacement. Open deals, not shady deals in Bon Air.
Thank you. Our next registered speaker is Ikahana Halmalkina. You're currently on mute. I will go to the next speaker. Maybe if you hang up and call back in, we'll try to take you next. Our next registered speaker is Haran Bey.
Greetings, I'm Haran Bey, natural person in full life, appropriate for service and jurors, all rights reserved, no pro-tunk. I come today with this public notice of allodial permit, legal notice of preservation of unalienable rights and constitution-secured immunities. This legal notice is hereby presented as an adequate point in law to inform and to give public notice to all comers, foreign, private, and public, including all elected and non-elected public officials, etc., that I, Haran Bey, and loved ones, Aboriginal indigenous to the land, northwest of Mexico, Al-Marak, North America, in full life, being a natural person and not a 14th Amendment corporate person, artificial entity, nom de guerre, nor straw man, as written in all capital letters. I do declare and say, all unalienable rights, all substantive rights, all birthrights, all constitution-secured rights, all human rights, and all international law-secured rights are preserved and secured by the supreme law of the land and by treaties in force between the United States Republic of North America, Morocco, Maghreb, Al-Aqsa, the most extreme west, northwest of Mexico, North America, etc. All other divine, unalienable, and substantive rights, known and unknown, are preserved, reserved, not waived, not transferred to any other, and are acknowledged as being enforced and not abandoned, nor ever intended to be abandoned. Any contemporary misrepresented claims made by any person, personnel, or foreign corporate entity to the contrary notwithstanding. In harmony with my ancient forebears' Aboriginal customs and communi, In universal truth and reason and in accord with the established law of the land, refer to the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, see Articles 1 and 2, and all sections enforced by federal constitutional law and by international law. See Article 6 of the United States Republic Constitution and Executive Order 13107, the implementation of human rights treaties, etc., to which the senators, the representatives, the members of the several state legislatures, and all executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and of the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution. Any laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. United States Supreme Court, state courts, like federal courts, have a constitutional obligation to safeguard personal liberties and to uphold federal law. Stone versus Powell. United States Supreme Court. The obligation of state courts to give full effect to federal law is the same as that of federal courts. New York versus Eno. United States Supreme Court. An administrative agency may not finally decide the limits of its statutory powers. This is a judicial function. Social Security Board versus Naretco. Again, I stand here with this public notice given to the city and all public officials to stand in force. This is regarding property located at 218 Jacunda Street here on the city south side. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go back to Ikahana Halmalkina. Unfortunately, you're still muted. If I see you come off of mute, I will certainly call you. With that, we'll go to any speakers with us in chambers wishing to speak. Please come forward at this time. Provide your name and neighborhood for the record. You'll be given 3 minutes to speak.
My name is Yvonne F. Brown. I live at 1715 Mercer Street. That's at Katie Irvis Tires up at the top of Bedford. I come today because as I was listening to 90.5 FM, they said the mayor was going to be choosing a new police chief. I protest. He's worse than Perduto. At least Perduto did go from neighborhood to neighborhood, and they skipped us. But you did go from neighborhood, and people were able to speak. He just brought people, we don't know who they are. I was walking down here, I seen a city worker, and he was on the phone. He said, yeah, you hire him and you don't check the background. From my understanding, the police chief that he's hiring is someone that they have questions about, something he did wrong. Why would you take and get somebody that has a shady past? We don't need that. You made the decision last time. You spent all that money, and you brought in your last chief and made sure he didn't come to our neighborhood. And when he didn't come to our neighborhood, we had Dave Fields, a businessman that has cars lot on Fifth Avenue, that they tasered him. They said, who you gonna call? Because Harper was gone. Harper would call and tell him, leave him alone. They actually tasered that man in his business. He was on the ground. Oh, I mean, it was horrible. That's a black businessman, and he got tasered. So you imagine if it's me, what will happen to me. But I will come and tell you when they do it. But also, I want you to understand, do you know who Willie Lynch was? Come on, Mr. Krause, you with your big mouth. Shut up and leave me alone.
Do not tell me to shut up.
Yes, I'm telling you to shut up. S-H-U-T-U-P.
Ms. Brown?
He has no business
Please
talking
address
when
counsel.
I'm talking, and you know it.
Ms. Brown?
You let him do it.
Please.
All of you talk when we're talking, and don't nobody say nothing to you. You make the rules, but you don't follow them. And if I say anything that you don't like, then put it out. No, I'm gonna keep on coming back. And you, Mr. Krause, you need to put your head down in shame. You're the one that the reason why they said Southside on Fox News is one of the worst neighborhoods in the city of Pittsburgh, in the United States, because you had to have buses to take the drunks to the bar. We're up there at the top of the hill. We can't get down to the hospital. These are seniors, blind, crippled, some of them handicapped, mentally also. They must take, you say get the access. You have to pay for the access. I can ride it free because of my age. But them, they can't ride because they can't even get up on the bus, get help. Let me tell you something. I want to say something to you, Mr. Thing. I'm a little upset, but not at you. I'm glad that you're getting ready to come up to Kaylee Irvis. That's not even your community. But when I went to county council, Mr. Watson had said, no, I will not call the bus company.
Thank you. Any further speakers in council wishing to speak? Any further speakers in council? If not, I will try Akahana Hamalkina one more time. And it appears she's still on mute. Unfortunately, I'm not sure. Oh, here we go. You're unmuted. If you could begin speaking. Unfortunately, I'm not sure what's happening this morning, but we're unable to receive her public testimony. So that will exhaust our list of speakers, which will take us to our standing committee agenda. Our first committee of the day is Finance and Law, which is chaired by myself. Our first paper is Bill 1454.
Bill 1454, Resolution amending Resolution 109 of 2023, which authorized a cooperation agreement or agreements with the City of Pittsburgh Equipment Leasing Authority for the purchase and leasing of vehicles, equipment and accessories, equipment support, infrastructure, and professional services for use by City of Pittsburgh departments by increasing the total spend by $900,000 for a new not-to-exceed amount of $10,365,991.
Motion to hold for 5 weeks, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mr. Chair, I'd
One
also
and-
like to schedule a post-agenda on our state of the vehicles, particularly public safety, but across the board. I think we need to take a good look at it as council people. And I'll schedule it with the clerk's office, I guess.
Okay.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Councilman Coghill will work with Madam Clerk to get a cablecast post agenda on police vehicle schedule.
Thank you.
And Bill 1454 will be held 5 weeks. That takes us to Bill 1460.
Bill 1460, Resolution amending Resolution number 746, further amending Resolution number 728 of 2022, entitled Resolution authorizing appropriations, salaries, and capital expenditures of the Parks Trust Fund for the 2023 fiscal year, beginning January 1, 2023, by updating the transfer from the Parks Trust Fund to the 2023 capital budget.
Second.
Discussion, Councilman Cross?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There is an amendment before members that was to be presented by Councilman Lavelle. Would you like me to defer to you, Councilman?
Please, this is just to correct the exact amount being transferred over. So if you would offer.
I'll offer up that amendment on Bill 1460, please.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The bill is amended. Any further discussion on the bill as amended? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Affirmative recommendation. We need a motion to approve the invoices.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Invoices are approved. Need a motion to approve the P cards.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? P cards are approved. That takes us to Public Safety and Wellness Committee, chaired by Councilman Coghill. One new paper, Bill 1453.
Bill 1453, Resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Safety to enter into relevant agreements or execute required purchase orders with Corrections Development, Inc. for support and maintenance of integration of the Allegheny County Court Scheduling Module into the in-time system, to include a one-time fee for development, implementation, configuration, training, and application design meetings of $20,000 and annual maintenance fees of $5,000 at a total cost not to exceed $45,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Affirmative recommendation. That takes us to Public Works and Infrastructure Committee, which is chaired by Councilman Kraus. Our first supplemental bill is 1473.
And
Bill-
I'm sorry, Madam Clerk. Mr. Chair, can we read
1474
1474 as well?
Yep.
Bill 1473, resolution vacating unused paper portions of Benezet Street, Heath Street, Ewell Way, and Okra Way, laid out in the Eastern Edition of New Homestead Plan of Lots, Plan Book, Volume 20, pages 12 and 13, in the 31st Ward, 5th Council District. And 1474, resolution vacating unused paper portions of Whitebush Street and Heath Street, laid out in the Eastern Edition of New Homestead Plan of Lots, Plan Book, Volume 20, pages 12 and 13, in the 31st Ward, 5th Council District.
Motion to approve, please, with discussion.
Second.
Thank you. Thanks, Councilman. I'll defer to Councilman Warwick. These are yours, correct?
Yeah, this is just there's a firefighter who lives out in New Homestead, and he's building a house, and his parents are building a house, and he's been waiting for these for a very long time. That's why I waived Rule 8 to just get it done. It's been a long time, so.
The two most horrifying words in the English language are paper street. Just madness, but yep, happy to support Councilwoman.
Yeah,
Any
thanks.
further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Affirmative recommendation. That takes us to new papers, beginning with Bill 1456.
Bill 1456, resolution providing for an agreement or agreements with H.W. Lochner, Inc. for costs associated with the preliminary design phases of both Heron Avenue Bridge and Elizabeth Street Bridge, providing for the payment of the cost thereof not to exceed $878,570.80.
Motion to approve, please, with discussion.
Second.
Second. Patrick, are you here for this? No, oh, I'm sorry. Director, hi, welcome, good morning. Please come up, if you'd like to. Please do, yeah. Anytime we get close to this kind of money, I want to talk about how and why we're spending it, so thank you. Okay, Director, good morning. Thanks for being here.
Would you like to know about the project?
Yeah, and you have to identify yourself for the record, please.
Sure. Kim Lucas, Director for the city's Department of Mobility and Infrastructure.
Great. Thanks, Director. If you would, please.
Sure. So this item updates the cost for the preliminary engineering efforts for both of these structures, two separate bridges. We've negotiated with a consultant, so this is the contracted rate that we're pursuing. Preliminary engineering develops the Heron Avenue preservation work and the Elizabeth Street rehabilitation work. Preservation is less substantial. We don't think we have to replace the deck of that bridge, so we're just preserving what's there so that we can avoid future more costly fixes. But the Elizabeth Street might have to have a deck replacement on it. This is fully federally funded, so there are no city dollars going into this work. Roughly 18 months from July, which is when we hope to have the contract fully executed, is when we'll have the preliminary engineering wrapped up. And then we need 12 months for final design, with construction expected to begin in 2025.
So we've already accepted these dollars, federal dollars. This is just technical. I don't want to make it too simple, but technical to update the dollar amount.
To get the contract going.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good. Thanks, Director.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Affirmative recommendation. Bill 1457.
Bill 1457, resolution providing for an agreement or agreements with Mackin Engineering and Consultants for costs associated with construction inspection and contract administration for the critical sidewalk gaps in Sylvan Avenue projects, providing for the payment of the cost thereof not to exceed $466,516.08.
To approve with discussion, please.
Second.
Discussion.
Director, you're here for this bill as well?
Yes. So the agreement is to provide inspection and construction administration services for two individual projects. One is the critical sidewalk gaps, which is using federal funding, the transportation alternative set-aside money, which will construct sidewalks in 3 locations through the city. Fountain Street, which is in Fineview, Thornton Street in Sheridan, and Broad Street / East Liberty Boulevard in East Liberty. This one, like I mentioned, is funded through that Transportation Alternatives federal program. The other project on this contract is the Sylvan Avenue Multimodal Project, which will provide multimodal connections along Sylvan Avenue from Hazelwood Avenue to Home Rule Street. At Home Rule Street, a separate trail project will provide a connection for pedestrians and bikes through to Greenfield Avenue. That project, this current project, is funded through a SMART grant, so get another grant-funded project.
Nice.
And both projects have planned bid openings July 13th of this year, and both will be around 6 months for estimated construction timing, so we would be wrapping up both of those projects in spring of '24.
Thanks for coming to the table prepared, Director. We appreciate it. Thank you. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Councilman Coghill?
Yeah, just a quick question, Director. The sidewalk, is it currently there, or is there no sidewalk?
That is a great question that I don't have the answer to, but I can find out.
Okay, I just didn't know if there's grant money like that available for sidewalks in general to repair or replace. So this current, we don't know if it's existing or not then. Okay. All right, yeah, if you could just, I'd like to know if there's available monies out there for sidewalk replacement, existing sidewalk replacement.
Sure, I believe so, and I
Yeah.
know that I'm sure you're aware that the mayor's office is leading an effort to do more sidewalk
Yeah, I would love
construction and
to,
rehab.
honestly. It would be great for us to really take over the sidewalks because, people, for whatever reason, fixed income, you name it,
Exactly.
really don't take care of their own sidewalks.
No, and it might not have been shared at the table, but last year DPW and DOMI partnered up as part of that mayor's initiative to use our local construction crews to build sidewalks. And so we have been exploring as a city new ways to do that work. This is funded through, as I mentioned, federal funding. We've used the CDBG funding in the past, so we're really cobbling together a lot of sources because we know that the cost, sometimes it's just an information barrier. Sometimes owners don't realize that they're responsible for their sidewalk.
That's right.
Sometimes it's a cost barrier, sometimes it's just a process barrier. And so there is a working group right now with DOMI, DPW, the mayor's office, and PLI to really get a program going that's going to work for more people so that we get better sidewalks in place.
Okay, that's encouraging, especially the main streets, where the business districts are. I'd love to see. Let's do more comprehensive sidewalk replacement. But, okay, that's all. Thanks.
Warwick?
Yeah, so I just had a few questions with the Sylvan Avenue projects. Obviously, we've talked a lot about these. So the first half that is from Hazelwood Avenue to Home Rule, my understanding was that was a grant. Is this the money we're putting? Is that matching for the grant?
This is the...
my understanding they were both grants, but...
This is to put the money on the contract. So this isn't to accept new money or to spend additional money. This is just to put the money that was in that budget you've seen onto the contract that we've negotiated for specifically the construction inspection and administration services.
Right, but my understanding was that project was grant funded.
SMART grant money. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so is this like matching requirement for that grant, or?
I believe there is an 80-20 matching requirement for that grant, but I can double check that.
Okay, so, I'm just so curious to know just how much, that's something I would like to know is how much so for both projects, right? For the, for the sidewalk, the first project from Hazelwood Avenue to Home Rule Street, and then the second project through the Greenway. How much we need, how much we need to pay into those projects to for the matching requirement. And specifically, the reason that I'm asking that is because and again, we've talked about this before, but just to bring it up at the table, the part of the project that is going through the Hazelwood Greenway, the Greenway has been designated a public park recently. Anyone who's familiar with it, it's just a thicket now, right? It's not a usable green space. It's been designated as Greenway, but it's not a usable space. So I would like, and the community would like, sort of more long-term, in addition to building that mobility corridor through there, which is as of right now, the only project being done in that space. In addition to that, working with city planning, DPW, and also perhaps the Parks Conservancy or one of these other organizations to come up with a design that also takes into account all that green space around it, so that in addition to a mobility corridor, we're also using what is now a park and turning it into usable green space for the community. which it used to actually be a connection up to Greenfield. So, and I'd like to see, I'd like to put, but again, with the 4 Mile Run money, you know, I want to be careful that we have enough money to do the things that we're committed to, but then also, you know, move money to, because this, I think that this project, the Greenway section of it, just has huge potential to be a really great project from a mobility perspective, but also just like parks, green spaces for the community. So
when we met previously, I recall city planning has money for Greenway work that they were able, that was already identified for Hazelwood. So I haven't met with them since that time to discuss
that's right.
that,
We're sort of trying to pull another call together to kind of get everybody on the same page about costs and whatnot, you know, what to expect sort of over the next five years or so, and also what designs might cost, you know, that type of thing. So to be continued, but it would be helpful to know exactly how much money is needed just for the basics for the projects that DOMI has. You know, the sidewalk, the first part, well, both projects, the first part and the Greenway part, so the mobility corridor.
And we have that updated table. I know you requested that from our chief engineer. I've shared it to OMB to make sure that we didn't miss anything. And once I have their sign off, we're preparing it right now.
Super. Okay.
And then to circle back on your question, my team's watching on our floor, new sidewalks. So those will be for new sidewalks with this program.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Affirmative recommendation. Bill 1458.
Bill 1458, resolution providing for an agreement or agreements with Allegheny Valley Railroad Company for costs associated with preliminary engineering for the Swinburne Bridge project, providing for the payment of the cost thereof not to exceed $10,000, federally reimbursable at 95%.
Approved.
Need a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Affirmative recommendation. That takes us to Bill 1459.
Bill 1459, resolution providing for an agreement or agreements with Allegheny Valley Railroad Company for costs associated with the preliminary engineering for the Charles Anderson Bridge project, providing for the payment of the cost thereof not to exceed $10,000, federally reimbursable at 95%.
Approved.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thanks,
Affirmative
Director.
recommendation. Thank
Appreciate
you,
you being
Director.
here.
That takes us to Human Resources Committee, which is chaired by Reverend Burgess. One Bill 1452.
Bill 1452, resolution providing that the City of Pittsburgh enter into a professional services agreement and/or contract with Tallagy, Inc. for professional services in connection with Tallagy, Inc. for firefighter recruit testing, reports, and job analysis, and providing for payment of the cost thereof, cost not to exceed $49,550 over 3 years.
Motion to approve, please.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Affirmative recommendation. That takes us to Intergovernmental and Education Affairs Committee, chaired by Councilwoman Gross. One referred paper, Bill 1173.
Bill 1173, resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for proposed land development located at 4554 through 4564 Penn Avenue at the parcels numbered 49M121, 49M122, 49M123, 49M124, 49M125, 49M126,
Councilwoman Gross, your screen went off. I'm not sure if you're still with us.
Motion to approve that.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
That was a weak.
Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Affirmative recommendation. That takes us to our last bill, Bill 1455.
Bill 1455, resolution providing for the issuance of a warrant in favor of the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission in the amount of $38,579.50 for the first installment of 2023 Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission dues.
Motion.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, I had a disruption at the house. Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Councilwoman Strasburger.
Thank you. So I'm fully supportive of continuing our membership to the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission. I do think there's a bit of a lack of communication that I see between the SPC and City Council. I know that we have a city representative who attends, generally, I think, from the mayor's office. I could be wrong. And I just want to pose the question for those who have sat on council for longer than I have, if we've ever had a dialogue, a relationship with the SPC. Do we know what their, this is the body that directs and decides on, grants that we're seeking at the federal level, funding that we're putting towards mostly transportation projects. Its members are both urban, suburban, and rural, and so as a city, I think we need to really have a voice at the table to make sure that those in the urban areas are getting what they need per the dollars per capita that they actually need. So I would open it up to those who might have more information from council to inform me as to whether we've ever had a dialogue with SPC and whether that could take some sort of form in terms of either a post agenda or a briefing.
Mr. Chair?
Sure. Councilwoman Gross?
Hi, I was just appointed to the public outreach for the long-term infrastructure bills that, we saw some of the appropriations come from today. And so that has a panel, I believe it's every 2 years, there's a panel that is convened to do public outreach. Now, I'm not on the Board of Commissioners, and so this is my first kind of engagement actively in doing outreach on behalf of SPC. And I think I had some really good thoughts for how they do this work. And there's a public comment period that just starts on May 11. Now, SPC, as the councilwoman points out, is doing outreach to a 10-county area. But there's a panel appointed that includes, Bike Pittsburgh, some of the Healthy Ride people. It includes, I think, or Sherrard is still the Green Building Alliance. And that panel has been tasked with how do we communicate to city residents to get their feedback in the open comment period. I can't speak to attendance at the commissioner meetings and who kind of has been the appointee for the last 2 years, but I will do my work on doing the public outreach so that we can get citizen input, certainly. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I've just received a text from the mayor's office that we do indeed have a council position and seat on the board as well. So helpful to understand.
I thought that was held by, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I was pretty certain that was held by Councilman Burgess.
Yeah. No, he's off there.
Thank you.
Okay.
So
yeah, but I think Councilman Burgess was on there for about 8 years.
So helpful to understand where we fit in here and what the opportunities are. And I really appreciate that, Councilwoman Gross, that you're on that outreach committee as well.
Matt, you finished?
I'll just say, I remember that we had a different appointee on there. We had a conversation with the mayor's office about the appointees. So I'll look through my emails, and the clerk is looking through her stuff too to see who we appointed or who we worked with the administration on to put on there. And I know Councilwoman Gross was in some capacity, but I'll get you that information and send it to all members. But I do think you're right that all these boards that come before us that we're allocating funds towards, we should have some say on those boards.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed?
Also, Mr. Chair, I'd like to bring back the bill that I missed while I was having a ruckus by my dog. I apologize. Which is the deferred paper 2023-1173. So motion to reconsider bill 2023-1173.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The bill has been brought back to the table, Councilwoman Gross.
I appreciate it. So you all have been, I think, had this experience in your district as well, where planning or law has sent over sewer modules before there are planning permits. And so this bill, even though we've deferred it many times, still does this project, this notion of a project still does not even have zoning approval. And so it is nowhere near in its final form. And I continue to say that we shouldn't approve sewer modules unless there's actually an approved project, because the project could change radically. And so they are out of sequence when they come to us before any of the other planning permits. So I'm going to do what I've been doing, and I'm going to motion to hold this for about 6 weeks.
I'll second, Councilwoman.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The bill will be held 6 weeks. That exhausts our agenda for today. We do have meeting announcements. This afternoon at 1:30, council will hold a cablecast public hearing on Bill 2023-1178 as relates to an ordinance amending the Pittsburgh zoning code to update the standards for certain HVAC equipments and setbacks. Speaker registration closes at 12 noon. Next week, council will hold our regular and standing committee meetings on Tuesday, May 9th and Wednesday, May 10th at 10 a.m. respectively. Speaker registration will close at 9 a.m. the day of the meeting. To register to speak at the hearing and meetings, please fill out the sign-up form on the council meeting webpage. You may also call the clerk's office at 412-255-2138. Also, as an early reminder, during the week of the primary elections, council will hold both meetings on Wednesday, May 17th, with the regular meeting at 10 a.m. and the standing committee meeting at 1:30 p.m. Anything from members? Councilman Kraus.
Thanks. Madam Clerk, the public hearing on the liquor license transfer for next Wednesday, Madam President, have you just, if you wish to schedule for next Wednesday, I'm happy to chair. Okay.
Good.
Is that?
I did ask them to talk to you, but
Yeah.
we were all running around yesterday. It was kind of hard.
Yeah, happy to schedule 1:30 Wednesday, and I'll chair. And do we need notification? I just want to make sure I did that in a timely manner.
We'll send it out to Allison and to the Public Safety Department, to the representatives.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you. Anything else? If not, need a motion to excuse the absent member, approve the minutes, and adjourn the meeting.
So move.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.